I always wanted to go diving deeper, longer, reaching uncharted territories and arriving to places where no human has been. Expedition diving has been a goal of mine for as soon as I can remember. And for this, I got amazing gear. You have been seeing many of my reviews. One part of the equation was missing: myself, my own training. I wasn't good enough to achieve the kind of goal I wanted to. So to prepare for my next expedition, I spent the last 2 months with the Garmin Mk3i and did as much sport as I could, used it as a tool and see how it prepared to me. Also, you're gonna see a little bit of the expedition, and spoiler alert, this is very worth it to stay until the end. Hello, my name is Maxime and I am a technical photographer and an explorer from the Bottom Line project, and today I'm gonna bring you in a journey that is a little bit different than your classic scuba journey. It's all about gonna be fitness, health and expedition diving. First, a disclaimer. Garmin did only provide me the Garmin Mk3i for the purpose of this video. I've had it for 2 months, this is a loaner, I have to give it back at the end. No money change hand, Garmin does not see this video beforehand, and this is only my own opinion, nothing more. When you start to arrive into the depth of technical diving and even more into expedition diving, fitness is kind of important. Climbing, rappelling, going down with single ropes, and everything around the expedition. All of this requires stamina, and you need to be fit. I started to go a few months ago at this amazing HIIT gym that I have here, doing high intensity interval training, and it was great. I could feel big progress, I was getting better, I was getting stronger, fitter, lost a lot of weight, but I couldn't get the full benefit of the workout because I had no idea what I was doing. Was I too strained? Was I training too hard? Was I training too soft? How was I sleeping? How does this integrate into my health journey? And especially with diving, I need to be a little bit careful, as most of my dives are technical dives. I needed to see a little bit more data, to understand a little bit more of my own body and how it will react to this. And this is when I contacted Garmin and say, hey guys, I have this idea for video. I would love to do more expedition diving. I need a tool that can do everything. Would you like to collaborate together? And they said yes. And here we are 2 months after getting the Garmin Mk3i and training. The first week was rough. The Garmin did not really know my body, my physics, and how I train normally, and I immediately went into overreaching status. That stayed for around a week and a half, 2 weeks, until I started to learn more into the pattern, where I was training, how much I was training, and what I was doing. From there, it was pretty much quite a journey. It's quite impressive, and into how Garmin can make a tool that is so complex and understands so much of our body and isn't intrusive. I often don't realize that I'm wearing it unless I don't have battery anymore. That happens every month or 3 weeks if I do a lot of diving, which is absolutely insane. That means that I can wear all this all day long, go diving, go anything, and it's still there and still getting the data. After a few weeks, I started to go a bit more in depth into the Garmin Mk3i and all of the possibility of the tool. The one thing I absolutely adore is every single morning, what do I see? Is the morning report. I'm very sorry if you hear a bit of sound outside. My colleagues are preparing for our next dive and they are currently emptying tanks, so might make a bit of a noise. Very sorry for that. So one of the big things was the morning report. I could finally see how good did I sleep and why. Was I sleeping too much? Was I sleeping not enough? Was the quality of sleep good or bad? And what could have potentially affected my sleep? Was I training too hard and therefore my sleep was decreased, my sleep quality decreased? Was I just like sleeping too long and then being tired for it? All of those data started to become available, and at the morning report, I could see it. And that started to change a few patterns in me. I started to be more careful into my sleeping habits. I started also to be more careful at the HRV feature, or the heart rate variability. I'm sorry, English, not my first language. Remember, but I guess you guys are not watching that for the production quality. The HRV, like understanding how strenuous or how balanced or not my heart rate variability was, started to make sense. On very, very intensive workouts, I could feel strained and I could see a direct effect on the HRV. While when I was taking a little bit of a break sometime, the HRV was balanced, I was feeling better, more energetic, and I could go and carry on my day. During the high intensity training, I absolutely loved the heart rate. I can see the zone of heart rate where I'm at. How hard am I pushing? It's great. I didn't know that I needed those features. I actually don't really need them, but they're so nice to be there. And especially that after that, I can see on the app all of the data. I mean, look at all of those data that you have accessible to you to understand how your workout was. The health tracking features didn't only change my way of going for workout, but also in my daily life. I thought I was walking way more than I do. How surprising. Here in the beautiful Kotao, we mainly use bikes, and we use bikes for pretty much anything. That means that I was actually having a very low amount of steps. My smartphone was telling me that, but sometimes, you know, you leave the smartphone somewhere and you go for a walk here and there, and I was like, oh, you know, I always walk more. I actually didn't. So that created a kind of a reminder that was like, oh, Max, you're not walking so much, so you should maybe walk more. Here's your goal for the day. And the goals are changing every single day, which is very nice, because then I get to actually go higher and higher, step by step, without pushing it too much. Another feature that I liked is the body battery. It gives you kind of a rough average of all of those metrics and give it to you into one place. How much battery do you have for the day? That's a great feature, but I often end up at the bare minimum, or pretty much every day I end up at 5, which is the minimum you can have. I sometimes don't understand why I have some stress that is being there. Maybe I'm just used to stress and then I don't realize it anymore, but that's something I don't really understand. There is also like one thing that needs to be told about the Garmin Mk3i is this is a dive computer first. So what Garmin did here is that they crossed the whole health feature and all diving and included them together. And that was where I was extremely interested. Why? Because when I start to go diving and train at the same time, I want to be able to do both with minimal risk to my health, especially in case of DCS or decompression sickness. The dive readiness started to make a lot more sense. If I slept good before and if I was extremely rested, that I had not too much strain from training, the dive readiness will tell me, hey Max, you're ready to go on the day. Go for it, you can push a little bit, it's fine. On the other hand, when I start to do a bit more training and in my everyday life, I could see the dive readiness going to more conservative and say, hey, maybe you just don't push it too much. In general, I don't push those things. I'm staying extremely conservative with my diving. I'd rather do the deco and make sure that I'm all right than just like pushing things. One of the cool things of the Mk3i, and I didn't know that this feature would be such a game changer, is the heart rate during diving. I always had a rough idea of what it was. I kind of felt one way and I was wrong. It's actually very interesting. On my open water dive, my heart rate is quite high, but just a little bit of a secret, something happened during my expedition dive with the heart rate, and I will telling you at the end of the video, so you have to watch it. It's very, very, very interesting. Of course, from the heart rate, the computer knows how much calorie we burn, and that goes into the activity as well, which is very nice because I know how much calorie roughly I burn during a dive. I mean, it's great to know, like, could I afford this one cookie after the boat or not? Yeah, great. The only problem and caveat with this feature with the heart rate is you need to have direct skin contact. And that means that the dry suit is a problem, or you need to put the seal under and then just here. So it's a little bit harder to make sure that the dry suit is fitted properly with the Mk3i when you want to get actual heart rate data, but you could technically wear a band that is Bluetooth and then can record those things and be more accurate. I just don't trust those things to be under me in a dry suit while I'm diving with weird mixes that could potentially be flammable. So I decided to opt out and try that if I can fit the monitor on me when I am actually diving with the dry suit, good, everything is fine. If I can't, then I can't, and this is what it is. After all of that preparation, HIIT gym, running, better sleep, so the Garmin MK3 and I went on for an expedition on the south of Thailand in a place called Satun. Beautiful area, mountains everywhere. And we went not only diving, but also climbing. We went in the jungle, we went in the mud, and I'm very happy on how it performed, except for one thing. It didn't record any activity during the entire expedition. And I was like, why? Like, this is very odd. This is supposed to record. I mean, I am physically strained, I am physically tired, and I'm doing activities. And then I realized that during all of my activity, all of my climbing and all of my walking, even though it was extremely strained, the heart rate wasn't doing proper contact with my hand. Why? When I'm climbing, I don't want to have something extremely tight here, so I loosened it up a little bit, and therefore I lost all of the data of me doing climbing and caving and everything. All of it for the computer to now realize that I wasn't doing any sports and I was recovering while doing expedition. Luckily, I spoke with Garmin, and there is now a feature that is called expedition mode, where it actually tracks the kind of expedition you are doing with a rough estimate, even without heart rate. So maybe for the next expedition, I can get data. Another very cool thing that happened during this expedition was diving in this extremely long, extremely cold cave. And for once, I didn't have my dry suit. Like, I was in a bit of a different configuration than usual. Nothing bad, but I was a little bit colder. And I started to wear the heart rate monitor, and something very weird happened. I read 47. 47 of heart rate. Using all of the data, the cold, everything, I could see my heart rate extremely slow there. Very interesting data. I'm definitely gonna speak more to professors or to physicians about this, because it's supposed to be a very low rate, and I think that there is maybe an effect of pressure or cold or something going on there. So I'm gonna take that data and go and speak to somebody that knows. And if you wanna see me speaking to that person, please let me know down below and subscribe to the channel, because I think this is a very interesting conversation we could have with body data and diving, especially for expeditions. Another cool thing that isn't really spoke about during expedition diving with the MK3i is the link between the inReach systems and the MK3i. I always carry a Garmin inReach Mini 2 that is with me for safety. I am in extremely remote locations, sometimes far away from any emergency, and I do not have cell service. This not only is dangerous for the team and I, but also worrying a lot my family. With this tool, my friends can actually see where I am. They can send me a message and say, hey, are you okay? And I can also send them a little check at the end of the day that says, hey, everything's good, I'm out of the water, everybody's safe. You still need an inReach Mini for doing this, but you can link both of them, and you can like this use all of the satellite features from your wrist. Super cool for me that is diving. I don't have to open my pocket and then remove all of the case around the inReach. I can have that feature from my wrist. And I think that's the one feature nobody's speaking about, but it should be everywhere. That safety feature is one of the biggest thing in Garmin, I think. I promised you a little bit of a spoiler on what we found in this expedition, and that has been quite a crazy story. We were walking in that cave called C2, which is cave 2 basically, that we wanted to go and visit. Lots of climbing and then mudding, and after a while we arrived to this place that light is shining, so it's beautiful. Took many pictures and everything, and then we realized there is some kind of teeth on the floor. And we were looking at it, oh, is it human? Like, that looks like human tooth. Turns out those bones are between 3,000 and 7,000 years old. We found one of the biggest tomb of prehistoric humans. This is absolutely amazing. So no, unfortunately the site is closed because archaeologists are there and trying to find more remains. They keep digging, and they keep finding. If you want to read the story, you can click over here. This is an external link that is going to bring you to, I think, Bangkok Post or something like this. You can read a little bit more into what we found. We for now cannot go back there anyway. It's monsoon in this region, so a lot of heavy rain, not great for caving, but we already are planning the next expedition, and if you want to see it, think about subscribing to the channel, because I will definitely bring you with me this time and show you a little bit more into what it takes to be an expedition diver. And of course, if you like this video, just think about clicking on this one. I think this should very interest you.